All right, just double checking here. I had a little bit of technical difficulties. Can you guys see my screen? I'm just gonna type in the chat. Anyway, I'll get to it. Good morning, everybody. It is July 6, 2020, 9 o'clock in the morning, New York time. For economic news events today, we have ISM non-manufacturing at 10 a.m. And then at 10:30, we're going to have Bank of Canada Business Outlook Survey. This evening, we're going to have news out of the Australian dollar and the yen. The Australian dollar is the AIG Services Index at 6:30, and at 7:30, the average cash earnings and household spending. Tomorrow, or really in the overnight session, it's the cash rate and the RBA rate statement for the Australian dollar. And then the biggest news events are going to be, there's really not many Red Star news events. There's only that ISM number today, and then on Friday we have Canadian unemployment change, but there's no other Red Star news events here. So a pretty light news week for the U.S. markets, at least. I'm going to start off with gold here for the first market to analyze. We've hit a pretty big traditional profit target. Let's back out to the daily and just talk about where we are. We're going to be running back up to and through. There was this, it was like a 3-month consolidation or 2-month consolidation in gold. And the previous high before we broke out of that 2-month consolidation was 1788. And that's right about where we closed below. We only broke above that day for one close, and then we came right back below it. So today, this would be the second day closing above that consolidation zone, the prior high. So you can see that there's a pretty technical series here. The low of Thursday to what was the high of Thursday traded its 50% retracement in the overnight session. Now, we went straight up to profit targets. What we could anticipate then is our next measured move, which right now would just be a halfway back long for the week. It's the overnight lows of Sunday, Monday to high, and that's going to line up once again at that 1788, which is that previous all-time high. Now 1788.8 is that previous daily all-time high, and then 1788.4 would be the actual 50% retracement. So this would actually be something that I would front run if we do get that level, but that 50% retracement is in play here for a setup, a long setup this morning in gold. Moving on to silver, which pulled into a full 50% retracement on Thursday, as well as the second test. We had the first test on Wednesday, the second test on Thursday, and then we had a halfway back from the low of Thursday to high. Trading a front run. We've just blasted off here. In fact, silver is stronger than gold. We're up 2.3%. We have a 2.3% move. I want to look at the sequence just from the beginning of the week, so Sunday night here. As a reminder, let's just take a look at this daily chart. There is this, you can even call it a giant cup and handle, this trend line that's been in existence since September of last year. We broke above it, kind of retested, and we're shooting above. Our higher time frame targets in silver take us back to the September of 2019 high, which is 1984. We're trading 1874 right now. So that's a pretty significant move. Now, let's see here. It looks like there is an extension on the 5-minute chart from the high of, this is just a high before breakout to high. This is a super aggressive pattern because we never really had a traditional here. It's like 1831. I'm trying to grab that anchor. You can see when we pulled back into that 50% retracement, we moved to our profit target. Same anchor high, moved to our profit target. We're totally through these. What I'm actually going to expect we trade is this halfway back that we had that was aggressively front run. It's going to be a Thursday's high. So if you take Thursday's high to the most recent high, that 50% retracement is what I will expect. And that's going to mean 1858 here. That's going to mean 1858 support. And that leads us, that target is going to lead us into what was the high of last Wednesday, which has been resistance. This 1881 to 1884 has been resistance in silver. Moving on to the VIX, I'm just going to show you guys this higher time frame resistance level. This extension has been on our screen since last week, and we really traded right at the close on Friday. So there was, obviously a dump in the indexes, and it was right into an extension long the ES. It was right into an extension short in the VIX. The extension short in the VIX at 29.75 has a downside target of 27.06. So we can continue to sell off in the VIX all week long to 27.06. And when we're selling off in the VIX, the ES will rally. The ES will rally. Let me just get rid of these alerts up here. Those are not coming into play anytime soon. So our setup in the S&P is this extension, and it is a 30.59 quarter to high. 30.59 quarter to high. Now, if you look at the series that we had, and I can go back, I need to go to a 5-minute chart to show you guys what this looks like. But coming out of the lows, which was on the 29th, there was a 5-minute extension from 29.96 quarter to high. We traded it once, and then we traded it twice off the 38 here into the close. And then that is what we blew out of. That is what we blew out of. Once we blew out of that target, we began new extensions. And that is what we traded. Back up here. That is what we traded into the close. There is the possibility of that being the anchor, and there's also what is the overnight high. So both of those are anchors. I'm going to use the more conservative anchor, it's hard to grab this. $30.40 too high. But there's also the anchor that is, you could either argue that it's the overnight low on Wednesday to high. That's upside target is 31.78. Now, as far as our next entry, the only point of using either of those anchors is to just be aware of what our upside targets will be. Now, we confirmed these upside targets, and this is really what's important. We confirmed these upside targets when we broke out of the short Sunday night. And once you confirm an upside profit target, from the support level we rallied from, the full 50% retracement is technically the next valid setup. So most importantly here today, the setup that hopefully we can get down into, I mean, it's a 30 points away from that setup, would be a 31.39 quarter. I mean, that's the most important thing we can do after validating that support. So the full 50% retracement long from Friday's low is in play at 31.39 quarter. Now, what's currently holding is entirely different. We have an extension from 31.39 to high. And as aggressive as we are, this is absolutely like what we could hold. We would come down to 31.50. If we get a sell-off in the morning, it would be into 31.55. That first level, 31.55. And I believe that's going to line, that's going to line up with the highs we broke out of. So the more aggressive support here that we would initially run into this morning is 31.55. And then the deeper pullback is the full halfway back long from Friday. It's the full halfway back long from Friday. Okay, so those are the two different sequences for the S&P here today for support levels. The Dow, for whatever reason, this Dow has been kind of interesting here the way it's been trading. But the low of Monday, the RTH low of Monday morning, the open, we had this halfway back trade. It was front run, hit targets, halfway back trade, hit targets, and that same halfway back came into play again. Our upside target is 26,354. And once again, same thing. We broke above the short and validated the long. I'm only interested in the Dow if we get to 25,816. Okay. It's absolutely a great setup. The Nasdaq, on the other hand, little different because we've completed targets again. Of course, the Nasdaq is the first one to get there, the strongest market, the one we never short because it just goes up. The only reason it goes down is so it can go back up. We had this extension long from what was 10,172. It was Tuesday's high. Now that extension traded Thursday and again at the close on Friday, and we ripped up higher. We've completed targets. That same anchor new high, the 38% retracement is 10,379. There is a more aggressive sequence here on the NQ that is similar to the ES, but we're going to be so close, and it's important to note. Let's look at the daily chart. There's two big daily targets in the Nasdaq that are going to be completing here. The first target is from the pullback on the 15th of June. The second target is from the pullback on the 29th of June. So we had two big pullbacks in June on the NQ. Both of those targets are within like 10 points of one another. And it's 10,521 and 10,532. Both of those targets are above us. So I'm only looking at the more conservative setup. There is like probably an extension here I could draw that's super tight. But because we're so close to these higher time frame daily targets, I think it's more important to be aware of the lower time frame support. Moving on to oil, which is inside of this channel. Now, there has been this extension from 38.08 to high. We've traded it, completed it. We then had a same anchor new high, and that stuck at 61. We've come very close to a completion. 41.17 is that completion. I'm still going to just continue to draw up that same anchor new high. And that 50% retracement is 39.58. There's also the possibility at any point in time, if we get a pullback from Thursday, the low of the 25th to high, that would be at 39.04, but we'll take a look at that if we break the extension. But out of this high, we'll see if it turns in anything, but out of this high, there is a 50% retracement short that was participated on. If we complete this short, there very well might be a series down. We'll see though. If we'll have to complete 40.26. For the USDJPY, we've run into the 50% retracement short from what is Wednesday's high to low. The halfway back was a 107.74. Initially on Thursday, we were front run, tested it, sold off. Our downside targets are 107.13s. Those targets line up with the halfway back long from Tuesday's low from June 23rd to high. And you can see there's been quite the selling pressure here. At this point, we validated that downside target by breaking the halfway back long. And if we could come into the 107.61, which is just a 50% retracement short for the day, that would be an entry into the downtrend. Aussie dollar, we had this next measured move on Wednesday, and we just consolidated. Thursday, we retested. We've completed here. So what is Thursday's low to high is our next setup, and that's at 69.41. 69.41 is our next traditional long setup here in the Aussie dollar. Euro has blown through an extension target. The target was a 113.14. We're trading 113.29s. Looking for that same anchor new high here. The 112.47 anchor, too high. We perfectly came off that 38. The 38 is a 113 even. Okay? And the dollar seems to be getting hit here, and all of the currencies are rallying against it. The pound, we also had an extension. We've confirmed that upside profit target, and then we traded our next measured move long from what was Friday's low to high. Now, it was front run by 2 pips. A retest would be a 124.73. And then the USDCAD, we have this full halfway back long in the USDCAD. And we have Canadian, what was it, I think it's Canadian GDP. There's some Canadian news on Friday. It's a Red Star news event. I'll have to go back and look. But this full halfway back long in the CAD is really important here, especially with that news event on Friday. So we have the June 10th low to what is the June 26th high. That 50% retracement is a 135.25. Well, our lows are 135.18, so that's a 4-pip front run on that low. So they're already participating on this long setup. And there was a short that was front run by 6 pips on Thursday, and that target is a 135.05. So down here at this 135.15 to the 135.05 is most definitely a support level I will continue to pay attention to here for the USDCAD. But you can see once we traded that long setup out of this low, we're having participation on this next micro measured move here for the CAD. So that's going to wrap up my morning trade plan for a Monday. I would say we're pretty active already. The S&P's up 38 points. The Nasdaq's up 122. The Dow's up 363. Coming off a 3-day weekend in the middle of summer in July. That is a pretty active session. The oil did just complete its short move. It did, so there's going to be a next measure move in oil. But that's going to wrap up this morning's trade plan. If you enjoyed this content, feel free to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Share with anybody who you know is interested in trading. Leave a comment below if you have a question, or hit me up with an email, contact@startuptrading.com. Everybody have a wonderful week, and I'll see you guys in the trade room. Take care. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Share with anybody you know is interested in trading. Leave a comment below if you have a question, or hit me up with an email, contact@startuptrading.com. Everybody have a wonderful week, and I'll see you guys in the trade room. Take care.